and another thing you guys talk about a lot on this podcast, and what it's transparency. Like, just own up to your mistakes. Like, and at 18, I didn't want to say like, "Hey guys, like, I'm an idiot." Like, anytime I mess up now, like, I am fully transparent in everything I do. I will own up to my mistakes. But because I don't care. I don't care what people think anymore. I'm just making the team better. But as an 18-year-old, you just want people to like you. Which is counterintuitive, because if you just sit there and don't spread information and help people get better, people are going to hate you anyway. So advancement, that is day one what I started out at. Fast forward, somehow I make it through the week. I actually had one instructor who said I will be the biggest liability on my team at the TACP schoolhouse. He told my team leader this. He's like, you really need to watch that guy. He's going to get your team smoked a lot. And, they had me on a tight leash. My team leader was like a 35-year-old tech sergeant. My squad leader was like a 34-year-old senior airman, prior service, like Army infantry guy. I was on a tight leash, and they definitely roped me in, because I had to. I was a liability. But I make it through the weeks. I have a good attitude. I don't quit. I'm getting better. My attention to detail's getting a little better. I'm not getting my team smoked on simple stuff. But then I make it to the TACP field. And in the TACP field, again, I'm from Las Vegas. I'd never been out in the woods before. So it's our first night navigation solo. I'm a little scared. There's snakes sliming around. We're in the swamps of Florida. It's dark. I'm like, man, we really about to do this. I don't have an adult with me. I'm going out solo.
Oh, wait, I'm the adult? I need an adultier adult.
I'm not ready to be an adult yet, guys. I'm not ready.
Guys, I'm not.
But I'm a little nervous. I'm a little scared. I can't think, just because of how nervous I am, and I'm trudging through the swamps. And then at this point, it's day one. I've already lost like 3 things. And if you lose 4 things, like, that's it. Like, you gone. You out of the field.
I lost 3 things.
It's like an accountability thing. Like, you lose like the cap of your pen, like that's like a demerit. You lose like I lost like a protractor to my map, like, demerit. I kept losing.
Then you're gonna get a disagulation. It's funny because I can just picture you just showing up, be like, Mark, where are your boots? You'd be like, that only counts as 1. That's 1 pair. That's only 1 thing.
It's a set.
It's a set.
You guys, I was still 18 at this point. Cut me some slack. Yeah. So I'm walking through, and then I have like my headlamp around my head. I'm not using it, because if you do, they catch you using your light in the field. Done. So
right. Well, that's how the Russians catch you.
But I have it, for some reason. I have it around my helmet, and I'm walking through the swamps, and it gets ripped off my head. And I'm like, dang it, my headlamp. I was like, I can't lose this. I'll fail. So here I am in a panic, middle of the night, swamps. I start just ripping everything off. I can't find it. I'm like looking in the trees. I take my rucksack off. I take my kit off. I even take my top off. I'm like, I put my weapon down. I'm like, okay, where is this headlamp? Finally find the headlamp. I'm like, okay, thank goodness. I'm not going to fail day one. And
meanwhile, you yard sailed all of your stuff in the middle of a dark swamp in Florida because that sounded like a good idea to you.
Aaron, I was desperate. And
Aaron, listen. In all fairness, I was freaked out. Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I put everything back on. I'm getting it through the swamps. The swamps were so thick, I was literally on my hands and knees, like plopping with the weight of my rucksack, just crushing branches in front of me, like crawling back, flopping again. Like at one point, I was like knee deep in water, and I'm like, I'm in a thick. The navigation they gave me was the hardest land nav in the field. So I get up, keep walking. I'm about 200. It's been about 200 meters since I put all my stuff on at this point. Probably take me like 45 minutes. It's a thick area, and then I'm starting to reorient myself, and then I'm like, I don't have my weapon. So
So you traded a headlamp for a weapon, is what you're telling me. Yeah, I almost did. You were like, I put my weapon down. I was like, better be within arm's reach there, PL.
No, yeah. So I failed. I failed the field first go. Got put in the graveyard. Had to do 8 weeks of training all over again. I was just so nervous. And then the second time through, I'm literally doing everything I did the first time, but I'm a lot more comfortable because I did it. And then you continue to progress. So I eventually made it. Like, I eventually got my beret. One of the proudest moments in my entire career is when they say, blouse your boots and don your beret. I'm like, dang, I can't believe I actually did that. But I got to go to my unit now. And now I'm at my unit. I'm the new guy. Like, I'm at this point, I'm 19. I'm still a liability. I still don't really have any life skills. I'm getting an apartment off base. I've never lived on my own. I've never paid bills. But there was a deployment coming up to Afghanistan, and there was 18 of us new guys. They were going to pick 2 to be ROMADs for this deployment. And I just told myself, I'm like, I'm going to show up every day. I'm going to learn what I got to, and I'm going to be the best. And I'm going to go on this deployment. I get selected. I go on the deployment. I go downrange to Afghanistan. Don't really know what I'm doing. I'm still pretty new, and I've not been to JTAC QC yet in Las Vegas. But I had some pretty awesome mentors. They showed me the ropes. I learned how to operate downrange. I came back, went to JTAC QC. Deployed another time, and I start to gain the skills of the job, and I start to just be an adult. And then next thing you know, I'm at Ranger School, like learning how to be a leader and operate in some of the most stressful situations. And then before I left Germany, I'm a leader of a 7-man recon team who's tasked from the highest Air Force commander in Europe to go and conduct reconnaissance if needed. So like, I say all that because I literally started at the bottom, and the Air Force and Special Warfare has allowed me to advance, gain the skills from starting at nowhere, and then literally leading teams and being trusted to have one of the most important missions in the time in Europe. So advancement has been big, and it's something I'm extremely grateful for in this time in.
Well, and like there's 16 times during your pipeline at least that you should have quit. Like how many people would have quit in those situations? You told me about the day one, right? You're 18 years old. There's piles of people I watched quit in that situation. Like that first mistake where like everybody's ready for the runs and the PT, right? But like the psychological part of like getting your team smoked and not having your gear and like the nerves that come along with that. Like, so good on you for not quitting. I think there's a huge lesson there for everybody. Like, hey, like most of the people quit. We don't wash that many people out just because they can't do the job. Like you're going to get chances. But most people just, break mentally and get out. But before we end here, I did want to talk about something else real quick. Mark, you're awesome. Thanks for not quitting. We love you. How many parents do you interact with, and how do you talk to them about stuff? Because it seems to me these days, like parents are more involved in their kids' lives than ever before. So like they're a big part of the decision. We get a lot of questions from parents. So what are your interactions like with them, and what do you tell them about what their kids are going to be doing?
It's the same deal. I'm I don't sugarcoat anything. I tell them about the jobs. I don't try to like, oh yeah, he's not going to see combat, or I'm like, yeah, it's a combat oriented job. But the common misconceptions, like they're going to go downrange and die in combat.
Sure.
And this is one of the things I say is, and this is a true statistic. I grew up in Las Vegas, Nevada. Big school, 2,500 people. I've had more friends kill themselves from like drug overdose, suicide, and just doing dumb stuff like running from the cops on their motorcycles, or vehicle accidents than any of the units that I deployed with, from people killed in combat. And that is a true statistic, and it's actually a lot more on the other end of just my civilian friends back home. So there's that. Like other there's like a million misconceptions that you guys have already heard, but I mean, that's just one example.